And we are live! Hello everyone, Oz here, and welcome back to another rousing time with Ostranauts. Now, after that very, very delightful mix of music to kick off our day, now, real quick, we're going to have to pop in the options, and we're gonna have to fix the audio because I have completely disabled music in this game for my own sake, because apparently I just cannot get OBS to record it for the life of me. So I've been using, as you heard in the last video, my own YouTube copyright-free audio library music, which admittedly has been a lot to scroll through. There's about 1,200 songs in there. I think I'm at about, goodness, I want to say 330 or 340. So I'm maybe a third of the way through all of that. So I know nobody has gotten to the end of the last video yet, so there's going to be a little bit of confusion for anyone just jumping in, and I know a lot of people are going to miss this right here in the beginning, but this recording part right now is for the people who are watching this after the stream. I appreciate you. Thank you for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe. Tell your friends if you think they would love to watch the channel and think about this jazzy game every once in a while. So here we are on the brand new early access public test build of 14.4.5. Now, admittedly, I had to move over to 14.3 or 14.4.3 to fix this save because I had some issues from the .2, I want to say, version that made it so that way our lovely glorious cube here, which, if I remember correctly, was only this portion at the time, did not exist technically inside of space. It was just a box that was there that theoretically had some walls. There was no way that it could contain gas due to some shenanigans involving, I believe it was the build structure, something about it not recognizing where tiles were once they were built off of another map. So if I had bought them in commercial, or sorry, it would have been Mescaform, and brought them up to this layer here, they would not have been recognized as having been built specifically on this layer. So now that we're in a build that has not only fixed that, but has also, as you can see over here, updated a lot of really, really cool jazzy stuff. We're gonna get through that in one moment. I'm gonna try and wait a little bit so that way some people can filter into the chat and start watching, so that way we can start talking about this stuff all together now, yeah? So let's start with the basics. We are fucked. We owe $500,000 due to the apparent fact that death pay needs to be paid, and then you'll get smacked with late fees for not paying out the death pay. So somehow I need to scrounge up $500,000 to pay off these late fees and the death pay. Well, we all know that's not happening. There's no way in hell that is happening. So let's turn off the fog of war, and we're gonna take Captain Walsh, and we're just gonna start trying to sort out our ship first off. You know, that's gonna be, give or take, what our first step is. I've taken a lot of steps in the last video. I don't remember if I recorded them or if I've done them off camera to upgrade our crew's capacity to repair the ship and to take care of things on the ship. I've also done a little bit of off-camera grinding to, you know, sell some things, buy some things. We're working on it, you know. We're trying to make this ship the best it can be. So for now, we're going to go and we're going to take Captain Walsh, and we're going to start poking around our inventory, I guess, on our ship, and we're going to start repairing things as quickly as we can. We finally got our first deuterium canisters. Oh yeah, that's right. I did want to let Adam sleep, but unfortunately he is our most skilled worker right now. So he's just going to have to suffer being sleep deprived, and eventually, if we can get like a 3-day pass, I plan on putting us on the slowest boat out to the flotilla and getting him a nice, very long nap. No, Adam. I don't need you watching TV right now, my man. put your damn suit on, get your tools. It's time to fix shit. So I guess we'll start by prying some crates open, checking inventories, see if we can't find some PDAs. I know there's a lot of just goofy stuff floating around on this ship that needs sorting. Like, look, we have another EVA helmet. Okay, so these pants are empty. Another empty backpack. We'll just start dumping all this clothing on the ground. Now, as you can see right now in our backpack in hand, I believe it is this one, we have a few interesting things. We have an extra PDA, which we can now open up and see the inventory of. This is where the newest addition to the game exists, the PDA cards. Now, I have gotten quite lucky, and I have managed to get up to a Tier 3 cartridge. This means that we have a lot of unique abilities that we are now able to see with our visor. The only one that is not default is the price index. So with a Tier 3, you're able to see the default view, which is what we normally see. We can see the mass of everything on our ship. We can see exactly how hot things are on our ship. So that's kind of cool. We can turn into the Predator and we can tell where everyone is. We can also see the pressure on our ship. Now, admittedly, this one I don't understand how this one works just yet. I'm still trying to figure that out. So, you know, we'll get there. I'm assuming red is high pressure, white is mid pressure, blue is low or no pressure. Something like that. Well, yeah, no, it would be because this cargo web's out in the vacuum, so no pressure. Okay, so that makes sense. Turn that back off. So if we turn exteriors on and off, okay, that doesn't seem to do anything for now. We can turn off all these task icons, so that way we can actually see what's going on. We can turn off the power wires, so that way we have a nice and clean view of all our walls and stuff like that. Though admittedly, personally, I'm a bit of a fan of the wires. I like the wires. You know, there's something to look at. So we're going to turn task back on. And, you know, of course, we can turn on the power of visibility, but we're also going to keep that off. And we can close out our PDA. We will, at some point, get more into exactly what goes on with that. Let's see, one of these was pretty darn close to empty, so there we go. So this bag right here, we're going to put it in the bottom right corner of our new crate, and we're just going to start stacking clothing in it. Because it's time to get organized, and part of that means we have to go and sort out the wardrobe issue that we have with this ship. We have way too much clothing, way too many pieces of clothing. It's great for, you know, customization of all our cast and crew. And it's fantastic. I love it. I do. But it does mean everything is a little bit of a clustered mess. We're also going to have to find out, you know, exactly how many tools that we have floating around on the ship that we aren't aware of. So there we go, that's those first set of crates done. And as you can see, we have a lot more to go. So we're just going to take a second and we're going to, you know, load out things. Like, look at that, we got a cutlass. Do we have any pills in this bottle? Yes, we do. We have some amoxicillin. Those more machine parts, we'll leave those in there. Of course, yes, we do have a nice and shiny katana. We will maybe end up using that or giving that to one of our crew at some point. Okay. So we got food in this one, drink as well. So let's take this, the backpack. We'll place it in the top right, so that way we know that one is food. So, yep, all these pouches contain drinks, so we'll just put them in here, and then we'll put the food inside this bag. So now we have a bag for food, we have a bag for clothing. No, I'm sorry, Adam, I know you want to relax and go do stuff, but you cannot at this time. We have way too much to sort through, man. So there we go, we're just getting a crap ton of trenchers, so, you know, we're not going to have to go and sneak through and raid the galley of the OK Lake Station. Now, I'm just trying to make sure that I unstack as much of this crap as possible. Because, as you can see... Okay. So that one just contains some bullets. That one's empty. This one we need to open up still. So that one is empty. We got a crowbar here. So we'll just move around some nitrous. Let's see when this ticket is good until. February 10th. Yeah, good luck. We are way past February 10th right now. So let's move up here. And let's just start moving some of this crap up. So if we move some of it up, we can start to create some more space. Okay, so in order to move this where I want it to be, if I pick up this heater, I can go like that. There we go. Things aren't stacked now, so that's good. That should prevent some clang from happening, to use a term from another famous game about space. Because admittedly, this game, as lovely as it is, does have a little bit of clang to it. So we're just gonna go, we're gonna package up all the food, all the drinks, just as much crap as we can, and we're gonna try and unstack as much crap as we can. Like this right here, we don't need those stacked. That'll end up causing something to despawn at some point. So let's see. Empty toolbox. That's perfectly fine. Mark coveralls. Can go in the bag. And you know what? We're going to use this one to store some of our space gear. So where in the ship are we? So we're right below the deuterium tank. So we'll try to remember that. Like I said, there's a lot on this ship now. And we're going to have to go through it all. We're going to have to sort it out. We're going to have to fix it up. It's going to take a lot of time and a lot of effort. But in order to ensure maximum profits, because like I said, I mean, we are well over $500,000 in debt on just fees that have racked up, because I didn't understand the way that the death pay worked, I guess. Well, actually, you know what? No, we'll leave these tools in that crate. Eventually, we can just use that as extra tool storage. Goodness knows we have plenty. Okay. Yes, there we go. Look at that, we got a bat. That'll end up going in our weapons crate back in the main portion of the ship. And pressure suit helmets, damaged as they are, they can go in there. Let's see, batteries we'll stick in our pocket. G-lock pens, we're going to have to start to sort those out in a medical. You know what, that bag will be medical. Tools. Do I have space in here for some tools temporarily? Yes, I do. We'll put that charger in our actual bag, though. And I believe that was the one that I was trying to put all the tools in. And now it's full up. Look at that. Alright, let's try to tuck some of these back just a smidge so that way we got more of the screen available. Go for something like that. Now this is a problem. We don't need all this crap down here stacked up. Because the less stuff that we have stacked up, the less, opportunities there is for Clang to happen, and the less opportunities for Clang, the less money I lose in a very expensive sounding mistake. The last very expensive sounding mistake that I had happen cost me a Muria drive. A Hydra, a $32,000 drive just disappeared because I uninstalled it to move it around on accident. And it just completely vanished into the ether. Gone. $30,000 out the window, so fast. You would not believe how quickly you'd feel like crying after something like that. Honestly, it's heartbreaking. Alright, so we have another tool over here. We are going to have to start using a little bit of what I've heard described as quantum storage, where you store, things in bags and then bags in boxes. Oh, looks like our bag is now full. So let's see, if I remember correctly, we can put the shoes in the small pouch along with the t-shirts, and that'll buy us more room for go. And we have this trenchers that we want to deal with. That was gonna go. No, that's our PVA bag. I guess it's not that one. Is it this one? There it is. See, this is the downside of having so many bags on me. I start to get confused after a minute. But there we go, so now we have at least a little bit of the tool and food problem with our ship sorted out. Alright, that takes care of the first section. Hey everyone, welcome to the 14.4.5 update. So we'll go into what's new once again here in a little bit, but for right now we're just gonna kind of focus. Okay, where did that go? Where did my crate go? Okay, thank goodness. I thought I lost all of that for a second. I was gonna not be feeling so hot. So let's see, our weapons crate is now doing decently well. I believe one of these over here. Let's see, get rid of this. We don't need our PDA pulled up or any of our Bingham suit. Let's see, so it's not this one. We'll just empty it out a little bit. Get all the food items out on the floor, so that's not that one. That's switches and electronics. I do have... somewhere in this mess. I have a toolbox that's meant to be specifically for tools, but, well, as you can just tell by the size of our ship, we are an ultra-large now. It's just an overwhelming, ungodly amount of crap to sort through and deal with. Oh, goodness. What have I done to myself? Okay, so this is the empty one. We'll start putting some tools away. Let's hit the fridge real quick. Deal with this bag. Hello, Adam, wake up. Get to the fridge. Okay. So that deals with some of the food and drink. We still have a lot more out there to deal with. Let's see. Clothing. We're going to store the clothing over in our main cabin. As I've kind of set up. Nope, that's a spare water. That's what I thought. So if we do something like that, we take these cargo pants, put them back in the, and we do a little something like this, like this, like that. We have now managed to go and compress the amount of clothing that we're carrying on us down to almost nothing. goes. It never ends when you're playing this game. There's just always so much to do, so much to sort out. It is an endless stream of management, but I could not love it more. I honestly could not. So let's see, so move down. That's an empty spot, so I can fit this in here, and if I put this in my hand for a second, I can get access to its cargo pockets, and I can put this t-shirt inside of it. There we go. Oh, please. Nope, it did not spawn on screen. So which bag was that again? Should have been this one, I'd like to assume. Yep, there we go. Okay. So that deals with some of, at least, the clothing management. And it's just going to be a lot of this stream. It's going to be a lot of just moving stuff about, getting it all installed and put where it needs to go. A lot of restoring parts. In a minute we'll get to at least a little bit of selling crap, but it's just, it's a lot. A lot to go through. Move these field coils. We don't need those clanging about. Especially with the fact of, now that we have a deuterium tank, I think I should have every other piece required to build the safest max capacity reactor I can. Let's see. Install that light real quick. Well, what'd you do that for? There we go. So apparently you do have to be careful. Apparently you can install lights into walls. I never knew that was a thing. Let's see, food bag. Let's go to our second fridge. I do have a third fridge now as well. After yesterday's episode and a little bit more rating of the derelicts that are out there in the boneyard. Honestly, I've just been living it up and loving this update. There we go. That's where the lights are stored. There's one thing that I've kind of become slightly obsessed with in this game. It's ensuring that my ship has proper lighting across the board. I know it's a little bit counterintuitive. I don't need to do it, but I want to do it. Okay. Let's see. Now if I'm going to install this... Go for something like that, and then reactor should eventually sit, give or take, right about there-ish. Okay. Anything else that I can notice that is sitting on and stacking on each other? Nope. Aside from that bin, I think we should be good. So, let's head off to the kiosk. And while we're heading over to the kiosk, we can go over a little bit of the visor stuff. So, the visor is part of the new test update that honestly I think is one of the best updates to this game so far that I have gotten the delight and experience to play on. It adds in a whole new slot specifically for your PDA on the paper doll for your character that goes on the arm. Inside that PDA, you can store cartridges, like the Price of Visibility cartridge, which is by far my favorite. So if we go over to the visor, and we set it to rainbow, I guess, so we can see this deuterium canister. We know that's worth $12,000, therefore it's deep in the red. Eventually, I think you're supposed to be able to edit this price range, but I think that might come on a tier 4 card that I don't have access to yet. But we can see, you know, $18,000 for the infirmary bed, $8,000 for the treadmill, $73,000 for this deuterium canister. I think we're gonna end up selling at least one of these. I'd honestly rather not. But when it comes down to it, you have a choice to make. You can either have the things or you can have the money, and in this case, I kind of need the money. So if we head over to our inventory real quick, and it should be one of these. I want to say it was this one. There we go. We are looking for the Damage Viz cartridge. Now we can head over to our visor. We can take a look at the damage. A little bit of a glare warning for some people. And we can see that, you know, our floor is mostly doing okay. We still have a lot of work to do. I've been legitimately making them slave away like crazy to try and get this ship fixed up, but there's only so much that the crew is willing to do at this time. So we are just getting there. We have a lot of regulators and other crap that we need fixed. So what do I have over here? So I already have a fuel regulator, so I can sell off that one. Not bad. Alright, back to default. Dismiss the fog of war one more time. And let's see what we can get rid of at the scrap kiosk today. Well, I'm surprised that didn't, you know, cause the thing to crash or make it incredibly upset. Because admittedly, you know, the zone I currently have set up covers the entire ship that we have. So right now I'm trying to look and find, you know, just whatever I can sell that's in a pretty good repair state, but not completely, you know, worthless. Screw it, we'll get rid of the coffee. And we can start to sell off the empty smart crates. Because admittedly, we have a few too many smart crates. We'll sell off a bunch of vodka. Try to keep the anti-G-lock pens. Those are incredibly useful, and I have no desire to sell any of them right now. I guess we'll get rid of the subfloor bins. We aren't using those right now. We'll sell 35 of the walls that we have stocked up. Let's see if we can get rid of that pouch. We're going to keep a hold of the trenchers still. Oh, hey, look, there's one of the battery stations that I'm missing. Well, now for the 2 Webers that we have on board, we won't have to worry as much for charging them. Here's all the clothes that we got. You can see using a little bit of quantum storage shenanigans to just try and stuff as much away as we can. Sell off that. Sell off all the scrap cloth. Let's see, trash to sell. I don't permit drinking on my ship because legitimately I have a man sitting on my ship right now who has passed the fuck out from drinking way too much. I went Shanghai somewhere in the middle or in the beginning or middle of yesterday's episode that got uploaded. Let's see. Okay, after a bunch of scrolling through, we aren't even halfway done. But we're getting pretty darn close. Oh look, another locked PDA. We'll have to see if we can't find the blue jeans that contain that. A splint there. Gonna try and keep all this stuff for now. Sell off some batteries. We don't need those. We already got enough, or if we need more, we'll just buy more. The batteries are super cheap in this game. Unlike in real life, where they cost you an arm, a leg, and, well, half the rest of what you got on you. Sell some hydrocodone. Oh, look at that. We have a bunch of floor tiles that are unused. We're going to sell those off. We'll sell off those Tetsudo 44 series walls. Because we're still going to have like 70 walls left, and that will be more than enough to section off the ship that we have. Sell off this floor. Now, we are keeping every single EVA and pressure suit that we have until we can get them all just kind of organized and sorted out. And these PDAs should be empty, but I'm going to have to double check on that. More floor tiles we can sell off. I should be getting more than that for that heater. I think we're going to have to end up hitting up the fence to sell a lot more stuff. Because admittedly, the scrap kiosk is not giving us good prices, so we're just selling it, you know, the little scrappy stuff. The stuff that isn't worth that much. Goodness, I have gone on a looting rampage. I have so much crap out here. Honestly, I didn't even know I had half this crap on my ship. That's the amount of crap that I have right now. Sure, sell that air pump because we can get pretty close to max value on that. I want to say the things only go for about 1,200 max. Sell off the vodka. Last few smart crates. Some light splint. Some drink pouches. Some cigarettes. And a few more batteries. And there we go. Just with selling off, you know, what is essentially all the junk that we had on board, we got an extra $7,000. Now, I know there is a lot more money on this ship, and we'll get around to making that in a minute. But for now, I'm going to sell this off, and I'm going to go and take a quick break, run to the bathroom, so I will be right back. And we are back. So let's head down to the old Emporium Mescaform and let's see what we can get from our good friend the Fixer and see if they have anything that's interesting or worth buying right now. Mr. Bullock. What do you got for us? Well, nothing that we need. Just shivs, more EVA suits. Mostly junk. See, this is why I held out, because some of these intake regulators that we have just laying around, we can get a much better price for from this guy. So let's see. I should already have a spare fusion core pump sitting on the station somewhere, so we shouldn't have to worry about that. We aren't going to sell a trashed cooler. We're going to fix that up first. Let's see, is that the cheaper deuterium canister? Yes, that is. We're going to hold off on selling any of that for now because I genuinely want to try and keep as much of that free deuterium fuel as possible. Let's see, we have a few more thrust assemblies. We're going to have to sell them. It hurts to say, but we'll have to sell them. It's a shit price. I mean, you're supposed to be able to get $5 grand for them, but... well, I mean... you know, we aren't going to sell anything else. We're going to head back to port. We're going to fix up what's on the ship. Once we've fixed up what's on the ship, you know what we're going to do? We're going to go and then we're going to take what little money we have left in our pockets. We're going to buy a permit from the port and we're going to sell it to the proper permit place. Instead of just, you know, accepting dirt prices from either the scrap kiosk or some scuzzbag black market fixer. You know, as nice as Gabriel is not our friend, and they are definitely not doing us any favors on the pricing. So for now, we're just going to start shifting stuff around. Fixing more clang as we find it. And we're going to try and get, you know, stuff like this power setup fully implemented the way that we want with all these batteries that we got off of the ships that we raided. Because, you know, we need more power. We need more everything. We have a lot of space to visit and a lot of space to conquer. But unfortunately, you know, conquering space does mean, you know, you have to do a lot of management in between. It's the real killer of space piracy is bureaucracy. Have you filled out your Form 1099-C for your profits yet? So there we go. It's just going to slowly install all the batteries that we have across the ship. And then eventually we'll have enough power that we just won't have to worry about running out. Then this will be one very nice sealed room. Eventually I do want to go and expand the ship out even more and proceed to rip everything out and redesign the entire interior of this ship, because right now it's kind of a mess. You have the original compartment, give or take about here, I want to say. Something like this. This was the original. Then we blew up to something like this. No, it would have been probably something like that. Then I want to say the next extension would have been the double power room. Then it would have been the first section, then the second section of our storage. Which then also at the same time I think required us to punch out the back wall for our bedroom and what is now the, I want to say, the relaxation room. That was all one room at one point. And then it just slowly expanded out. Now. Honestly, I do love this ship, but you can very much tell it's a Weasley house of this is where things go because I don't know where else to put them at this time. And eventually that will have to be fixed. I think the eventual idea is once the reactor room is set up, we're going to have corridors set up, probably about, if I go 5 tiles wide, I can do the battery run through it and use spaces and access hatches to go into section off portions of the ship, so that way we have like an engineering corridor throughout the entire ship. And then from there we can have, you know, one massive room that's dedicated to all of our atmospherics that uses that engineering corridor as a way to pump and vent into the rest of the ship using auto vents to control the air pressure. Which eventually means we should be able to set up some form of automatic protection against going and accidentally spacing the entire ship, because right now that doesn't exist. Right now, if a hole were to get punched in pretty much anywhere, but I want to say this little room at the bottom of our storage right north of the fuel containers, we would pretty much get spaced instantly. All of this is just open and absolutely not well designed in the slightest. So let's start to get rolling on the mega projects and get everything installed. I wish I could present, you know, this in a much more exciting manner than what it is, but I mean, this is the dull portion of the game that I enjoy. This is fun to me. I can't explain how or why, but there's something about building out and slowly designing a ship piece by piece and getting it set up properly that just fills me with a joy. Honestly, it's probably why I enjoyed doing puzzles so much as a kid. Pick up this super handy, and we're going to use this to start trying to sort this all out. We're going to start with the batteries, I guess. Because pretty much anything that's power related, I'm keeping on the ship no matter what. And I have a feeling that we might have very much increased our power capacity. So now we're going to just take all the batteries that we have. We're going to have to pull everything in from the cargo webbing outside. And I mean, this is it. It's the one of the largest expansion projects that we've done that hasn't included laying floor and walls. So it should go pretty fast. It should only take, you know, a few hours in theory, which admittedly I'm considering going and just sticking around for, because I've got nothing else to do today, so might as well. You know what? I have a brilliant idea. We are going to completely cut out the in-game music, and we are going to set up a playlist of all of the music that I've been using for the YouTube videos, actually. just gonna turn that down just a little bit more, so that way I think it's all balanced. Double check on my end real quick. Alright, and there we go. Now, admittedly, my tastes in music are a little bit eccentric and a little bit fun, but I think you guys are going to enjoy this. It has a little bit of everything from country to some pop to a little bit of electronic music in there. You know, I try to make sure that whenever I play music, I always have one of the best mixes possible. I've always actually been complimented on my music mix. It's actually kind of funny. If any of you remember that really cringe movie about DJs from the mid-2010s, they're like, oh yeah, you need to go at so many beats per minute to go and to keep the people moving and get their hearts pumping and the blood moving and yada yada yada. Yeah, it's all stupid crap. I don't think it has a single amount of basis in any kind of actual science. However, it did actually influence the way I see music, so I have what I like to call the everything playlist. It covers every single genre that I actually enjoy, and trust me, it is a lot. From, you know, the 1930s, you know, Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy from Company B, your classic Andrew Sisters, you know, doo-wop music, you name it, legitimately almost every single genre over the past 100 years or so. I think the only thing that's not in there is like anything Gregorian chant, which I'm fairly certain I could fit Children of the Omnici in there somehow to go and to secure that pin as well, but that is a work in progress for, you know, creating what I will end up calling the ultimate music mix. But, you know, it takes a little bit of everything. Okay, so if we put Adam to an auto task, we're gonna actually, we don't want to go faster than 4 times, because if we go faster than 4 times, it will horribly mess with the people in the dock. Because, fun fact, turns out this game is not exactly stable being early access. So a lot of the stuff that we tend to do in-game usually will end up breaking something at some point. And if I'm being honest, that's about half of the fun I actually have with this game, is finding, you know, new and unique ways to go and to make this thing scream and cry for mom. Then I file out a bug report, send it off to the devs, and either it ends up getting fixed or addressed at some point by one of them, usually within a day, which is honestly astounding. I have never known any dev team to be that responsive to their audience. Honestly, it's one of the things that actually truly makes me really love this game, is how responsive the devs are. You know, it's just, there's something to being able to build a game, build a community, and being able to sit there and interact and share your love for, you know, space and making things difficult. You know, there's a little bit something fun about excruciating gameplay. We're all here for a reason, you know? go. We're slowly reducing the amount of clang on the ship. Picking up batteries. Goodness, looks like we're gonna have enough to go for days after this. Now, eventually we'll get outfits sorted out for the crew as well, but the plan is to eventually have everyone wearing EVA gear full-time. As you can see, you know, we're starting to get, you know, our deuterium tanks and all that fixed up, so we're going to be able to get top dollar for some of this stuff. I would love to sell the batteries at some point, but for right now, I will, you know, take the power generator, or the power storage over all of that. So let's see if we move that like so. How do I want to do this? It's like another game of Tetris. Area. Eventually we'll have one of our hauling robots who cost too much money go and move that somewhere else. I mean, honestly, they're charging me $1 million or $500,000. You think they'd be a little bit more generous with the amount of crap that they're willing to do for me. You know, they could just become my personal Sindarin death cult or something, you know. There we go. That should clear up a decent amount of space for us to slap down some of these batteries. You know, say what you want about the copyright, DMCA, whatever free music that YouTube provides, but honestly, I actually think it's surprisingly good. Okay, first start of the battery stack from what we gathered up is almost done. Andrew, where'd you go, buddy? Or Adam. Adam. Honestly, I think by the end of this playthrough, I'm going to be sick of the name Adam. I'm going to have to find a new name for our next character, because, you know, that's the way this game goes. You play for a good long while, your guy dies, and then you find someone else. You play some other way, which for me probably will not happen. I will probably always build out some form of box because, you know, I like the cube. The cube is the pinnacle of spaceship design, in my opinion. Yeah, I guess we can do it. We can start to clean up and solve some of this nasty intake mess over here. We're gonna start by going and just removing anything that's loose, any loose intakes. Clean up the floor some. And we're going to make a whole new gas and intake room down here. So, if we want to do this in the most optimum way possible, most optimal, it's going to take a lot of planning, but I have a good idea. Just like that, the start of what I'm going to call the fuel stack has begun. And once we're done with this, we aren't going to mess with it at all. It's going to be one solid unit that, you know, we do not touch whatsoever. It stays there. We do not look at it any more than to just say, hey, it exists, and we're happy with it. But this mess right here is unacceptable. We're going to undo all of this, and we're going to take it all out. In fact, we're going to order, uninstall, remove floor, remove the wall from it, and we are going to tag all of this crap. It's all coming out. Put Adam on auto task and see what he does, because now in theory he should just start to rip all of that out. Or maybe he'll head off to go repair crap instead. I don't know. There's just so much to do on this ship. But while we breeze on by, you know, we can see about picking up stuff like cans of nitrogen, so that way we don't have to later. Air pumps, more thrusters. We should have enough thrusters to raise the class of our ship now, which admittedly has been a little bit of a problem, because we only have 10 thrusters installed, and if I remember correctly, that is just not enough. Look at that. We have Pope and Gross going and joining in on the fun. And we'll start to pick up some of this conduit while we're at it. So actually, while we're at it, we'll head to... You know, we won't head to the crew. We'll leave them alone. We'll let them just keep doing their own thing. It's easier to just let them do their own thing when I have a bunch of orders queued up. We'll control them later at some point. Well, that's funny. Apparently the battery runs down even when you're just wearing the EVA suit normally. I actually didn't know that was a feature. Or it could be a bug, or it could be a feature that is a bug. That's about how early access development games go. Hi, welcome to the live stream. Hope you're enjoying it. Today is a little bit of a cleanup, clearance kind of day where, you know, ripping things apart, moving them around, and just redesigning parts of our ship, because it's time to sit down with a calm head, clean everything up, and take our time to make the maximum amount of money we can off of what we have. You know, we have parts that are just missing across the entire ship. We don't know where stuff is. If I'm being honest, we've kind of really just messed up our entire ship. So we're actually we're gonna start just taking a lot of this crap out. We're gonna leave the lights as best we can, though. We do want the lighting to stay, because I am particularly happy with how I've lit the ship. But there's just some stuff that it has to go. I am very displeased with what I have done. Let's see if I remember correctly. Got another thing there. For now, this is fine. We aren't touching the transponder, ever. Bad idea. Do not touch. Do not pass go. Do not collect $1 million. Oh, hell no. Do not ever touch that thing. I mean, you have a 1 in 5 chance of your transponder not breaking, and if you do break it, it's at least $23,000 to $25,000 to replace. And as you can see, we have about $12,000 in the bank. That's not too bad. It's about halfway there. Halfway there is also no ways there, because we're going to have to spend $5,000 of that to get a permit just to be able to sell crap at full price to the station. So, you know, there's kind of a massive just catch-22. Okay, so for a second, we're just going to leave them in the background doing all that crap. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 intake regulators, it looks like. Okay. There we go. So now I want to go and I want to design out what is essentially going to be the most ideal setup possible. So if we go something like that, that should all be still accessible, I want to say. So now if we go and we place a little bit of space like that, now we can start to kind of pattern and tile this out. So that way we aren't, you know, overcrowding stuff. We're still able to place all of our Murias down, and that is a oopsie doodle right there. There we go, I don't think that's too bad. Look at that. You see, this is why I'm so glad to have a full crew now. Or at least a decent-sized crew. Because they're starting to go, they're starting to just help speed up the amount of construction time on this ship. Because before, doing something like this on my own would have taken hours to do, because, you know, it's just the one guy installing everything. Now, we're also going to have to install power, so do a line of conduits, something like that. Oh, it's such a beautiful thing to go and to have everything nice and tileable. Granted, we're going to have to make a little bit of a mess once it comes to installing the rest of our plethora of intakes. That's not to mention all the batteries and reactor components and everything else that we have to sort out as well. It's going to take a while. Alrighty, Mr. Pope. Since you are kind of just bumming around right now, we're going to have you actually dump some of your crap. And you are going to be the first on the crew to get new permissions to disembark and open airlocks. And we're going to use you to haul back all of the reactor equipment that I put on OK Leg. Then we're going to remove those permissions once more because nobody escapes the ship. Once you're part of the ship, you're part of the crew. Now, granted, I do know that installing the reactor also means we're going to have to punch a hole in our ship to make sure that way everything is all lined up correctly, but I am more than willing to do that. We have been pissing around, we've been wasting time, we've been ignoring the reactor until we could get a deuterium tank, and now that I have two, I'm taking advantage of it. I do not care. I have to have this done. Then we're going to have to see about fixing up outfits and getting everyone dressed nice and properly for space and properly equipped with everything. We have enough CO2 filters. I know we have enough air bottles. We're going to have to take time to fill up all the air bottles. We have a lot of work to do. You know, it's more than just a simple game. It's a whole life that you have to build for your crew. It's a lot to set up. There's that PDA that I was missing from earlier. It's like one of 2 or 3 that I want to say are on the ship and not unlocked yet, so we are going to crack into those, see if we can't find more of the higher tier chips, essentially, for the PDAs. Because if I can find another price visibility chip, those are worth about $30,000. So, you know, that's a free Miria, or that's halfway to going and paying the death insurance for one of my bozos. Which, admittedly, I do want to get paid off, because if I don't pay it off, pretty soon we're going to owe over $1 million in debt just for the, you know, liability of they might die. Granted, I still think I'm going to try and fire at least one of them and see if I can't hire an entirely new crew on, who all have 0 death insurance. Or, I mean, there is always the option of they accidentally get locked in the cargo airlock and accidentally get fired and the deck gets wiped away, and then, oh no, the airlock accidentally opens and then they're accidentally blasted into space for attempting to extort me for, you know, $500,000. You know, I'm not going to lie, saying that while cheery music plays in the background is quite a funny thing. Come on, Mr. Pope. While we're talking about your inevitable death and doom out into the cold, dark vastness of space, let's get you hauling the rest of the crap onto the ship. Okay, we are almost done. You know, I'm not gonna lie, if there's a way to get these airlock signs off of the floor or to buy our own, make our own, I think I'm gonna try and do that because I would love to see a little bit of customability or customization for decoration on the ship. Come on, Pope. Get over here. Now it should be left after this MHD is one more tank of helium. There we go, that is fantastic. We have now retrieved all of our reactor parts from the station, so now everything that we own is on the ship. It's no longer just floating around OK Lake where anyone could take it and sell it. So we'll pick your crates back up, and then we'll return you back to whatever the hell it was you were doing, Mr. Pope. And then we'll go and take over Mr. Walsh one more time. We are auto task, and as you were. Now, ideally, I would actually like to get some subfloor storage compartments where we can go, where we can fit some of the components for... Alright, we'll stick that in the clip point. Just the repairs that we're doing around the ship, because I have a feeling that we're going to need a lot of components around the ship. So, you know, having some out-of-the-way storage would probably be a good idea. Alright, we'll take over Adam for a second. Come through, we're going to pick up some of these intakes and some of this nitrogen. Yeah, it's an air pump. We don't need any air pumps right now. Okay. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more tanks that we can install on the ship. uninstall this intake right here because that is out of place. We don't need that one there. Put something like that. Okay. So if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Something like that for now. Okay, you see that one. That is a little bit strange why it's placing so many of those. So we'll have to keep an eye on that corner, see what happens with that. We might have to come in and uninstall some of these, there's some extra intakes. It might actually even be duplicating intakes, and if so, that is definitely a bug we are going to have to report to the devs. So we shouldn't just be duplicating things willy-nilly. Okay, working on repairing thrusters, good for you. Let's see. HVAC, select the nitrogen. Let's pop down all the tanks for the Miria and its friends. Why won't you let me install tanks here? There we go. Conduit like so. Now let's see what happens with this one, because I don't know where that regulator came from. Because if I'm looking, there only should have been enough to do 7 regulators, including what was in my inventory. So somehow I have an extra 3, which makes absolutely no sense. So we're just gonna, for now, install it and increase our regulator stack. Actually, no, we won't stick this one here. We're going to use this portion of the wall for something else, something a little more constructive, I think. And I have a feeling that it's going to involve a lot of propulsion. Gonna slow things down just to a nice 2 times speed, just to try and cut out some of the lag. Okay. Now let's collect some of these thrusters from about the ship. We're gonna try and increase that ship rating. I'm cool with us being an ultra heavy. That is more than fine. That was an intentional design. I like that design. I like having a big ship. It makes me feel, you know, like a proper spacer, you know? Well, proper junk pirate. And eventually we'll see about hauling all of the reactor supplies into this room right here. I'll have to pull up the wiki on my phone so that way we can see what's going on for the reactor, because I want to make sure that if I'm building this, I'm building it correctly, because, I mean, it does involve putting a hole in my ship. And I am very much opposed to going and putting any kind of hole in my ship at this time without, you know, knowing exactly what I'm doing. Okay, now it is time to install some thrusters. Now, thankfully, they haven't, you know, updated or added in any of the proper thruster placements, so we can just kind of have, you know, a very silly ship where I don't know how this is properly applying thrust without just wrenching this half of the ship off and, you know, sending us into a tailspin. Same with this portion, you know. None of this should theoretically work according to any actual physics, but I'm okay with that. Sometimes you can enjoy, you know, the silliness and imagination of just building something silly and fun in space. Now, if you have any questions, feel free to comment, you know, ask away. I would love to answer, try to get someone in who actually knows the answer, see about finding the answer out for you, you know. I know there's a lot to this game that I didn't understand when I started playing, and it has been such an uphill curve, an uphill battle to learn about this game and to, you know, grow to understand. While we're at it, I'm gonna throw down some repair orders. And then we're gonna have to throw down some orders to go and install more power lines. Should be able to just go 1, 2, 1, 2. 1 there, 2 there. And that should have all of the RCS intakes, I believe, that I have in our hold online and running. And we still have the entire battery stack to update, all this to move out. We also have a few extra navigation consoles that I want to fix up. Because, it turns out the things are worth like $20,000, so, might as well rip them off the ships that we're scrapping and slap them on ours, pull out the navigation files. Granted, we are not going to be putting any of the navigation files into our own nav console, because I like the mystery of not knowing what ships I'm flying onto. It allows me to just quickly pop in, grab like 6 things off the ship, which is usually thrusters, batteries, wall lights, canisters, air pumps, maybe a vent or two if I want an extra vent or something for my ship. It's very fun. I mean, Goji, it's a great game to learn about by watching, but it's a very fun game to actually start playing. And Digital Librarian, yeah, we're gonna see about dealing with that at some point. If you're gonna be in the chat, try to be polite and don't be so crude or rude. That's all I ask. But yeah, OG, or J-Van, I don't know. Call you Van. There we go. There is a lot to learn to this game. It has taken me 100 hours to get even semi-competent, and that is just with the bare basics of you need a lot of thrusters, you need a lot of fuel, you need to make sure that you have, enough of X, enough of Y, enough of Z, stuff like that. Because, it takes time to learn all this stuff. It takes time to learn, exactly what's worth scrapping out of a ship, exactly what's the fastest way to build a ship, stuff like that. So now if we go, we open up our nav map, we should be able to print status. Let's see. C12E Ultra. Okay, so looking at some of the guides real quick, just off on the side, we have a long way to go to get past E for our maneuverability rating. We are so far down. I mean, honestly, you'd be surprised. Dying in this game is actually pretty hard to do unless you make an obvious fuck up. Like, the only way to describe it is, what has caused me to die the most? And it is out of sheer pride and refusal to, just capitulate and use the pass system to transport myself between places. Because you are never, completely stranded. I could go out to the flotilla right now. And from the flotilla, I could come right back. So we'll give ourselves a minute here, install a few more things, and then we'll take the ferry out to the flotilla. We'll leave these guys to just do some stuff on the ship. Take to restoring it and all that. So that way I can kind of, demonstrate a few of the things. I mean, usually what will kill you is not enough power. So you end up, floating around in space. Or it will be, not enough oxygen. Or you end up going and smacking into someone who doesn't know how to fly correctly, and their ship ends up taking you out before you even realize what happened. Because, unfortunately, the people in this game who have pilot's license, they drive like it's Grand Theft Auto for some fucking reason, and I just do not understand why they fly around like that. Alright, look at that. We have a few more intakes for our intake stack. So I'll already queue up some more power lines. So let's see, should be 1, 2, and 1, 2 from there. And we're just going to get these installed right there. There are a few things I can suggest to make life a little bit easier. If you do end up starting with a box sled, which is, one of the smallest ships, that is essentially this room right here. Just this room connected up to your airlock with your batteries and all your RCS and all that on the outside of the ship. Get a few oxygen candles. You can burn through the oxygen candles for pretty cheap to keep that room full of oxygen while you're in flight to places, and you can use it when you're flying back from those places as well to keep yourself from dying. Now, will it solve your temperature problems? No, it won't. I have no clue how to solve temperature problems early on in space, aside from save up your money, build out your ship, build in a heating and cooling system. Now, your other options are completely ignore building out your ship at all. You can slap down, 80 tons of cargo webbing on the side of your little tiny capsule and use that to haul around massive amounts of crap through space. That is a viable strategy in this game. Is it one that I particularly want to go and use? No, not really. But we are going to, by hell or high water, drag up our maneuverability, because right now we burn through way too much RCS fuel just to go and get our ship moving and turning properly. Honestly, there we go. We're gonna tag those thrusters for on install, and we're gonna move them down over here. This is gonna be our new engineering room. This, I don't know what I want to do with this room yet, but we have a lot to redesign for this ship. I wasn't originally intending to go for longer than 2 hours, but, I don't have anything going on today, and if I'm being honest, all I really want to do today is play Ostranauts anyways, so, why not play Ostranauts and stream it all day? kind of yes, kind of no there, Van. So the option to go and focus on a small ship is usually pretty good. Most people in reality, you don't need much more than I would say. We're gonna head to the roster app for this, and we're gonna open up the zone menu. Gonna change this to dark gray, so that way it's kind of invisible. And we're gonna zoom out just a little bit. Come on, just... Okay, so... God, I don't want to mess with the colors. I don't want to mess with this as much as possible. That hurts to do, but, you know, for demonstration purposes, I will make a sacrifice. So, if I select something like this, 378 tiles. You know, it's not a large amount of space, but you have enough space for a nav station, you can have some power, you can slap your engines and your RCS, you know, down like over here. If you really want, you can set up, you know, a private bathroom and a little, like, sleeping quarters, like right here, because, you know, sleep is important in this game. You do need to sleep, despite my abject refusal to. And then, of course, you know, you need your nav station pilot. And if you know, section the rooms off, you can increase the value of your ship, which is always a fantastic thing. But essentially, what you want to do is you want to focus on a decent amount of power, a decent amount of gas, which would be your RCS thruster or intakes and your hydras. And you want a decent amount of thrusters. You want to make sure your ship goes fast enough. You want to make sure you have a big enough tank so it can go fast enough. And then you need enough power to keep you alive. Because you're going to need that power to function with your pumps, oxygen, and nitrogen tanks. You're also going to need thermostats, so that way you can set the temperature once you get heating and cooling. You're going to need a CO2 scrubber at some point. There's a lot to building a ship in this game. If you really want, I am willing to go, I'm willing to completely just back out to the menu and do a quick restart for this. So that way I can show you, you know, some of the basic ship options and stuff like that. We can kind of save a little bit of Captain Walsh for a little bit later in the stream. There's a lot of different ways to play this game, you know. Some people get the beginning ships or win one in a gambling match at the very beginning and they go straight to Venus. And Venus is the way that they go. I'm more of a just go with the flow, take it easy kind of guy. I haven't even run into any of the main quote-unquote like scenarios or quests or anything like that. So, you know, there's nothing that I've actually run into or gone with that isn't just, you know, basic gameplay at this point. In fact, most of what I've done is just the basic gameplay loop of you build out your ship, you fill up your ship, you rip other ships apart, and then you sell the crap. Now I'm just starting to get to the point where I do want to go out and I do want to, you know, interact with that stuff. I do want to start to try and find some of those missions and get some of those goals running. Admittedly, I do kind of want to go and cancel out a lot of the ones that are picked right now, just because I have zero idea where the people I'm looking for who are connected to them are. It's been across 2 different updates, so I have a feeling that they might not be working right anymore, some of them. So just as a way to kind of give us a fresh start, I might reset all of our goals and see what happens with that. So let's check our print status. Still got an Eon maneuverability. That's still not great, but we're getting there. It also doesn't help that we're taking off all of our old ones right now. But it is good that all of our ship is getting repaired. Soon to be dead guy. Let me think. Would that be Timothy? Oh yeah, no, Timothy, he is gone. This guy right here, he is not dead. Peng is just piss drunk. Like, this man has gone and had a lot to drink, and I robbed him in the middle of commercial because he was passed out piss drunk. So I've just shanghaied him, drawn his ass on board, and I'm just like, well, you know, eventually I might see about hiring him. I mean, he is a 36-year-old shipbreaker. That means he is going to have some skills, but he is also a citizen, I want to say, of Titan. So that might be an in for us to get citizenship on Titan. Which, you know, eventually we do want to try and gain citizenship somewhere. That is one of my eventual goals, is to actually get, you know, just like an actual place, an apartment or something. I actually have zero idea what there is out over towards Venus. I know that's a place you end up eventually. I haven't been there. I haven't been to Titan. I haven't been to anywhere else in the galaxy. There is a lot to explore still. It's part of why I'm so excited to get this reactor room set up, so that way we can get a torch drive put in. Because once we have a torch drive put in, I mean, the literal far distant reaches of space are the limit then. I mean, you know, I'm enjoying it. Right now, this is what works for me. Let's see, we're probably gonna have to make a quick stop inside and pick up some scrap steel. But that right there, that is a thing of beauty. Can use the roster app real quick to set up a zone, just to try and see what we got here. So that is 16, 17. So we have about 17 installed. Yeah, they are kind of fickle and finicky. I mean, if you don't know what you're doing, you will blow your ship up and you will irradiate yourself. Zero doubts about it. You will blow yourself to smithereens and remodel the interior of your ship if you don't pay attention to what you're doing. I plan on going and reading through the actual in-game manual as well as the wiki manual to make sure that when I install this and I get it running properly, that I'm not going to go and, you know, blast a hole in the cube, because I've worked very hard on making this cube and I'm very proud of it, and I don't want to kill my guy off just yet. No, if he goes out, we're going out the funnest way possible. We're going to crank our thrusters to maximum, load up on crew, and we are going to crash into Okleg or the sun itself. Because, I mean, if it comes to a point where this save no longer functions, you know, we're about to move up to, you know, early access build .15, where they are supposed to add in a lot of the fun new updates, like fire, which is going to be delightful because then you're going to have to really be careful about how you pressurize your cabins. Because right now in the .14 update, you can have a pure oxygen environment, you don't need to worry about it. As long as you have 20 kilopascals of oxygen pressure, you're fine, you're going to be fine, your dudes will be fine. However, a pure oxygen environment, for those of us who, you know, paid attention in chemistry class, we would happen to know that pure oxygen tends to be a lot of it, on the side of flammable. So, you know, having a closed off space, ripping through space that is full of nothing but pure oxygen, not only are you looking at causing health problems for your character, in theory, because you do need that mix of oxygen, nitrogen, argon, and, you know, whatever other trace noble gases are in our regular Earth atmosphere. Let's see. Should have a few more thrusters in here somewhere. Let's see, while we're at it, we'll pick up this battery, we'll haul that up to the battery zone. Yep. It is almost time to get the batteries rolling. That comes next. But I've technically been future-proofing this save. I don't know if it's going to make it into the new update whenever that decides to eventually come out. I hope it does, because, you know, building out the cube has taken a very long time. And to explain how fickle the reactors are just a little bit more, you have to always maintain your power. If you do not maintain your power hookup to your reactor, it will just melt down on you. And if it melts down, like I said, it is going to just remodel the interior of your ship. Okay, we're gonna have to go and get our ship rated again here in a second. We're going to install a whole wall of thrusters over here. Because I actually do not know what the thruster to mass ratio is, as well as what the mass of my current ship is. I don't think there's a way to see what the actual total combined mass of the placed tiles, which I feel like should be something that the developers eventually add in. I would love to see them add that in. But, you know, I don't know if they're going to do that or not. It's not up for me to decide. Right now I'm just trying to survive my self-created lag machine and the power of clang that comes with it. You know, we're going to turn up the in-game volume just a little bit. There we go, so now we can actually kind of hear things over the background music. so I think we're gonna set... That is the zone for now. That also reminds me, I have to make sure that none of them can disembark, because I just don't want to have to deal with wrangling them back onto the ship. Alright, well, we will have to see about fixing that then. Admittedly, trying to get the volume balanced across everything has been a little bit of a struggle for me. Let's see. Give or take, how's that doing, man? Admittedly, I did just add that into this live stream. I haven't had time to fully set up or look at everything. So, I'm trying to get it figured out. I was actually reading through a bunch of subreddits earlier, trying to figure out, you know, what a bunch of, you know, just other people had set up. Yeah, we'll just spend $400 on parts. Let's see, let's try cutting it down to something like that in the window. And honestly, we're just gonna keep messing around with it as the live stream goes on, and eventually we'll figure out, you know, something that works. Oh yeah, no, this is officially designated as an ultra-large ship. I want to say, even in the official Discord, I think I have one of the largest ships that has been posted so far. I'm not 100% certain if someone has not built something larger, or if someone has something larger that they're just, you know, messing around with, having their own fun with. Because admittedly, the larger a ship is, the more, you know, thrusters you gotta have on it, the more fuel it takes to get places. You know, the bigger you build, the more that you have to do. But yeah, no, it's weird to think that all of this started out as something the size of just this little nav suite right here, stapled onto an airlock and a few extra grates on the outside. It barely qualified for anything that was actually impressive. Oh, Yeah, no, this has added a crap ton of lag, admittedly. Mostly due to my own dumbassery. If you watch the latest episode that I posted last night after a lot of editing, I did queue up repair orders on this entire outer portion of the ship that just got added in. And holy shit, the amount of lag that added to this game. You would not believe. Okay. I think it is time to do a little bit of gathering. Now, granted, I do have a particularly powerful computer. If I remember correctly, my graphics card is the yada yada something Red Devil 6900. Give or take, it's equivalent to a 3080. I want to say it's actually better for video processing, which is kind of funny. But it does a little bit worse, I want to say, with some of the ray tracing graphics and that kind of stuff, which admittedly after a certain point, having all the fancy graphics really does not make a difference to your game, I will say. Like, it's just pointless glazing on a donut, you know? And you see, we're already finding parts that we can sell, so we already have at least 2 extra fuel regulators that we do not need. Fusion grade laser capacitors. Let me see, if I move some stuff around, I can get to my notebook. So what do we need? We need 2 field cells. Let's see, we'll try and find the most repaired ones on the ship here, because I have a few floating around, because I've ripped apart like 3 different reactors right now. The only downside is you can't put the giant coils on the Tetsudo, so you have to drag them all by hand. And we are just going to ignore whatever that is and pretend it doesn't exist. Because if you pretend that the errors don't exist, the errors can't catch you. Let's see, I know I need 2 laser arrays total. I think I only need 1 capacitor. Where'd I put my pen? Nah, it'll be fine. So, field coils, check. Capacitors and lasers, check. Pellet feeders, check. We have our deuterium tank somewhere on the ship. We'll deal with that when we get to it. I also need a core pump and an MHD. I remember seeing the core pump right here. Oof. Yeah, let's just not look at payments and pretend that doesn't exist. So I should have an MHD up here. There we go. There's the MHD. And then cryo tanks, I want to say you have to haul those by hand as well. So then all I should be missing is the 4 pieces of the reactor core. And I think a fuel regulator? Oh no, I have a fuel regulator. Okay, we'll park our dolly here in the corner. And we're going to have to factory reset all the doors leading to this portion of the ship because, like it or not, we're punching a hole in the ship. So that means we're going to have to make sure that the doors are locked so that way the rest of the jackasses stay the hell out so that way they don't accidentally space themselves. Because I've had it happen where I've been working on a part of the ship somewhere else. And because of what I was doing, I ended up accidentally going and spacing half of the crew. No, this one has not been reset yet. By the way, apparently going and resetting these factory doors, or factory resetting the doors, you have to do about 660 or so, 670 or so. A mix of the two there, Van, actually. I bought at least one of them, 2, maybe 3, at most. I'm not 100% certain. And then I found at least 2 of the ones on this ship on Rex. Let's see, I have 1, 2, 3. Looks like I only have 4 right now, so I know I did find some of them on the ships that were out in the wild. Oh. Let's move that. You see, it's a lot of little stuff like that, just trying to prevent the clang from happening. Bring all the 100% pieces of the reactor core down. I should have... I guess I don't have any more good reactor core pieces, so I guess I'm going to have to use this one. Well, I didn't want to, but it'll work. We're just going to have to fix it up first. I mean, honestly, you can find everything on the wrecks that are out there. There's no reason to not believe that you can't find every single part, component, and tool in the game on a ship. I haven't run into any extra Weber lasers yet, but I have run into an extra battery. So there are some things that I don't know particularly if they will spawn. But you would be, you know, very, very much surprised and delighted by what you can find on the ships. Let's see, we're going to need more scrap steel, which means we're probably going to have to start dismantling some stuff. but we'll deal with that in a minute. Because, you know, we can take stuff like these nav stations. Well, no, I don't want to dismantle those. I wanted to sell those, actually. Very much. You have to pray to RNGesus and, you know, pray that he's being merciful that day. Now, normally I would love to do this off station so that way I can use the full 16 times speed, but I mean, no matter what, I'm gonna have to be on station to sell all of this crap off, so there's no point in me going and leaving. And I think they're all on their off hour right now. Let's check the time. Yeah, 18 to 20, that's all their time. They can do as they please. But, incidentally, that makes this a perfect time to go and to do the installing of the reactor core. Alright. There we go. Okay, so I have the guide for the reactor pulled up. All we have left to haul over is going to be the cryo pump. Or no, the cryo tank. Which, do we have a full one? No. Looks like we're all out of cryo fluid. And there we go, we're at pretty much 100% durability on that thing. That's good enough for me. So let's haul this cryo tank over. Then we're gonna go, we're gonna lock the door. And start to build out our reactor. There we go, get a full battery in our EVA suit. It shouldn't take too long, but I'd rather have the safety of being able to breathe. Let's see, I know one of these bags has all my space equipment in it. Nope. There we go. One Bingham 12 EVA helmet. Granted, I don't like how that one looks. It does not mesh with my outfit. It does not bring me joy. Nah, Adam. You goofy goober. You know what? You must be hungry. We'll eat the trenchers. We'll move to this side of the door. Yep, you can see exactly how bad it's lagging right now. Fun stuff, that. Interesting fun fact, the number pad on your keyboard will actually go and will actually control the keypad for doors. With enter doing usually the opposite of whatever the current state is of the door. So if the door is unlocked and you go, you punch in your code, 1234, hit enter. Congratulations, your door is now locked. But we're gonna open that real quick because there's a few things that I want to snag before we end up doing this. There they are. That's right. Perfect. We'll put all the lights in here. Okay. We're going to use the roster app to try and figure out what exactly our space is. So we have... Is it 15 tiles? Please be... So 6, 7, 8. So that's the middle tile right there. So we'll put Adam right on that. And we'll rip that right out. and that can just go in our backpack. So now we'll bring your backpack out. Toggle power on whatever work lights we have. Slap one down. Now, in order, I want to say it goes, you put down your field coils. Then we should be able to install our reactor core on top of this. Okay, so that is the control panel right here in this bottom right corner. That is an input, that is an output. So now we can do things like installing our cryo tank. We're just gonna put that right here in the corner, I guess. Or does that need maybe that needs the cryo pump installed first. So I guess we'll put the cryo pump in this corner. We can take the fuel regulator. I guess we'll put that somewhere like right there. Admittedly, that does cut off the amount of floor space that we have. So we might move it around, depends upon whether or not we can get around it. Now, each fuel regulator and each capacitor can handle... Oh yeah, we can still get around. 2 pellet feeders, as well as 2 laser arrays. You know exactly my thoughts. Best laid plans of mice and men are not but fickle things before the plans of God. Now, I don't know if I want to power this thing up yet or not, but we are going to try and get this, you know, just built in and set up. Because building a reactor has been a long-term goal of mine. I've gone through about 4 or 5 playthroughs before this, so I am by far and by no means any kind of expert. In fact, I'm an expert at breaking this game, if anything. Okay. I can install our laser arrays, and then at some point we still have to power all of this crap. Actually, if anything, if we take the core pump, we're going to move the core pump over here, and then we can place the capacitor right here. So I do want to try and place things, you know, in a more aesthetically pleasing way, instead of just placing them kind of randomly. And yeah, see, our MHD is damaged, so we're going to need to fix that up before we can even install it. And we need more scrap steel for that. So, now that we have our reactor actually installed with the field coils and everything else, we can actually unlock the rest of the ship. Now, Adam, you can access the lock from this side, buddy. So let's open the door. We can open up the... actually, close the door. Close the door. Close the door. Because I just forgot. We have 0 gas output right now. So we're just gonna flood the ship with oxygen. Which means now we can open this door, so we won't have to worry so much. And then... once that's installed, we'll hit the control panel for this one real quick. We'll hook it up to the O2 alarm so that way it shuts off automatically. And we'll do this one right up to the nitrogen alarm instead. Yeah, sure. Install that one there. But now our ship should heat up. We should not have to worry about accidentally going and having someone die of lack of oxygen. Though this one over here is a little bit scarce, so we'll open that door up. And that should balance it out a lot better. Oh, hey, look, a working MHD. Fantastic. And then we can reinstall the core pump over here. And then we can install the capacitor right there. And then we can add in the last laser array over here. And I want to say that along with the pellet feeder. And then that should, in theory, be it. I mean, I'll check some diagrams online in the Discord just to make certain that I'm building this thing correctly, because if I break this, that is some very expensive sounds that it's going to start making. So let's see. Rotate, rotate. And that pellet feeder is damaged. Do I have any more on board? Because I don't think I have enough to repair that right now. That one's busted too. Or the game is lagged. So that should do it. In theory, this is a basic fully functional reactor, I want to say. We're gonna take a little bit of a screenshot and we're gonna zip that over to the boys in R&D and see what they have to say. Alright, so now that that is all smacked into place, we should be able to go... Actually, the gas levels are fine, so we'll take our helmet off. Let's see. See, this is where the new update actually comes quite in handy. It has a lot of different visibility cartridges for the new test update. Oh wow, that is actually genuinely really cool. So now I think the next step is we have to wire all of this into some conduit. We're also going to try and repair some of this crap as well. Just see how fast we can repair it real quick. Well, word from the lab is, apparently I have set this thing up in a correct enough manner that I'm not going to blast myself into oblivion immediately. It looks like the atmosphere balance is... starting to balance itself out, at least a little bit, on the ship. Okay. Oh shoot, that laser array is damaged. And I don't have another one, do I? Yeah, that one's damaged too. We don't have any in that portion of storage. Damaged. Damaged. Oh, what does it take to fix one of these things? More scrap steel. Great. Just crap that we don't have. And, yeah, no, honestly, it does. This and Heart Ships, or Hard Space Shipbreaker, they do share a lot of the same theming. Granted, Hard Space Shipbreakers is a lot more, you know, oh, boo-hoo, pity me about it, if we're being honest. You know, I quite enjoyed Hard Space Shipbreakers, and I quite enjoyed slaving away for the evil mega corporation, because it made me feel helpless, you know, in my own way, and it made me actually feel like I had to work genuinely very hard to actually make any progress. It was an enjoyable game. Okay, so that one's empty. How about this one? How about that one? Sweet. Okay, so we have a battery. It is charged. One of these bags has some tools in it somewhere. I swear, at one point I did actually have a very nicely organized inventory. I swear I did. You know what, for now, I think actually we're just going to pick up this battery, and we'll pick up this one over here. And we'll ride with that for now. So now what we're missing is the scrap steel. Oh, they're already dismantling that. Fantastic. So. Oh yeah, no. That is what I wanted to dismantle. Come on, come on. Let's see what we get. I know we'll get a motor out of this. I just don't know what else we're gonna get. Yes, we got a little bit of steel. And he's fixing up the broken door. Oh, the door isn't powered. That's why. Oh, yeah. Well, that would do it. Well... we're just gonna have to pick out a few things and scrap them for parts. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's not something I like to do because, well, I want the things. I guess the intake pumps are probably the best option I have. Or not. I guess those are dismantled then? Yeah. Can't dismantle that door, it's too broken. But yeah, no, like I say, there's a lot of similarities between this and Hard Space Shipbreakers. I mean, you have the very common element that both do have the actual profession of ship breaking in it. You know, people who strap themselves into rickety little pieces of crap and cling on to, in the lore, in the actual lore, in the gameplay, people cling on to the cargo webbing and be flown around the boneyard to be dragged out to the wrecks that they're supposed to take apart for, you know, the scrap and all the other stuff. As well as, you know, just to go into work on things, to transport things. So, you know, having some cargo webbing on the outside of your ship, like we do over here, which admittedly we need to do more work and take a dolly out and go essentially drag all that crap inside of the ship. But that's a task for in a little bit when we get around to it. You know, not everything happens at once in this game. Everything takes a lot of time. I mean, shoot, I want to say... Well, here, we're gonna move it off the screen because, unfortunately, they have some funky settings for the save and load menus where it will show, like, my actual full-on, you know, government name and stuff, because that's what my Microsoft account is linked to, and I would rather not pull that up on stream. So, if we punch a save through real quick... We're going to have to restart the game sooner or later, too, as well, to make sure that we are working correctly and it's not having a full memory dump. So we're currently sitting at 4 days and 14 hours on this save. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, 4 days and 14 hours of flying around and building this ship out. From a tiny little, you know, piece of nothing. Okay, so apparently the snap to Atom is a little bit busted right now. That's fine. And there we go, we are now back at full pressure for the ship. So while he's working on restoring things, I'm gonna check my screenshot folder, because I know I have the original dimensions here somewhere. Let's see, because I was just talking about this in the Discord last night. Oh yeah, no problem, Van. Thank you for popping by. Wonderful to have you here. Wonderful to, you know, sit and shoot the breeze with you. So we have gone from a ship that was 3.5 by 5 meters all the way up to our current size of 19.2 by 23 meters. So, you know, give or take about 20 by 24 meters wide is what our ship's at right now. It's frickin' massive. And we should be able to go and very shortly get the reactor powered up and running. We just need, you know, a little bit more scrap to be able to do that right now. We're also going to have to install this deuterium canister because we're going to need that for the fuel. And then we're also going to need our helium for the rest of the fuel. And everyone else watching, I mean, if you feel like commenting, feel like talking, feel free to. I would love to sit and just shoot the shit and talk about whatever with you guys. No topics are off topic aside from politics and, well, I give or take, that's about it. Politics. We'll probably keep this going for, I don't know, another hour, maybe 2, maybe 3. I don't know. The stream goes for as long as the stream goes, and as long as I have things to babble about. But honestly, once again, I just genuinely enjoy this game because it's a game of incrementals, you know? It's a game of starting out small, making money, and losing money. And unfortunately, I am set to lose a lot of money right now. There we go, and we're just going to ignore the ever-increasing amount of death pay that I owe, because that will get paid whenever I fucking feel like it and have enough money to afford it. I mean, seriously, who charges a late fee on me not paying your death insurance? I mean, look, I understand. You want me to go and to play. You want me to pay your death insurance. So that way, you know, just in case you die, your family or your cat gets something. I understand. But I also just don't care. Like, I know it's a bit cold to say, but I genuinely just do not and cannot bring myself to care enough to pay the death insurance right now. It will get paid when it gets paid. If anything, I'm actually going to try and weasel my way out of it by technically firing and then rehiring them, if I can. Because admittedly, I did not understand exactly what it meant to go and to have that death pay tagged on and to actually increase it, so I might have accidentally bumped some of them up while I was negotiating that out. And that was actually a very large mistake. Oh wow, the helium tanks need... So the helium tanks actually need to be, or to have a little bit of separation from space, it looks like. And from the deuterium. Interesting. See, there's a lot I still have to learn about this game. Let's see. Let's go get more conduit from our storage bay because we're going to have to keep wiring in the rest of our reactor. Gotta make sure this thing has enough power after all. So for any of you VOD watchers enjoying the stream right now, we are just going to keep on powering everything up. I got a little bit of word from the Discord that apparently this is where we need our power connected to, so we're just going to kind of run things straight to there on both sides and pray that, you know, that actually works for the connection that I want and need. One and two. So we should only need about 10 more circuits. Now, from what I remember, we cannot add anything else to this reactor. This is about as complex as it can get, while not compromising any sort of safety that we have. So, as we go, we're just going to keep on increasing just some of this stuff out. And we're going to process out some of these dismantle tasks and see if that can't get us to being able to repair that laser capacitor back there. We only need a little bit more steel, and unfortunately we're going to be... Oh, there we go. That's it. He's fixing the laser array. Once this is fixed up, I think I should, in theory, be able to... Missing is small parts and electronics. Okay, well, let's tear another one apart. Let's check the roster app. So everyone has another free hour until 21. Then we're gonna have to kick everyone up and get them back to work. Hey Peng, how you doing? Yeah, still passed out drunk. Eventually I plan on recruiting him, but, well, there's only so much I can do for the man that I shanghaied. Let's see. I need electronic parts, which means I'm going to need to take apart something that's electronic. Well, oh, that's cool. Apparently I can hack a PDA all the way across a ship. Interesting. Gonna have to make a small post about that one. But let's see what's inside this one. Anyways, could be something pretty useful. That's a damage visibility chip. We'll take it all the same. Then we'll get the files transferred over. Let's see, I believe mine is the 5B. Goodness, I have a ridiculous amount of files on my PDA actually, so let's hit up the Emporium and talk to our good friend. I want to say it was Gabriel Bullock. Yeah, Gabriel, my man. Or at least I'm assuming Gabriel's a man. I don't know. I could be very, very wrong with that. So let's check out our PDA. And let's see if we can't make a quick buck. Contacts. A full album, not bad. Yeah, just a bunch of recordings. Some confessions to some crimes, more contacts. Ooh, a last will and testament. I wish I could get more for that. Another few contacts, a crypto token bin, the hacking for PDA software, another copy of the gold album, one more contacts, crypto token, and crypto bin. And look at that, $50,000. Not bad for 2 minutes worth of work. And if we sort through our smart crates that we have on our person, I'm gonna guess it's this one then. Should be this one. Oh, damn, he doesn't want any of the power cards. Well, we'll see if the station wants them once we get our proper license to sell to the station again. Goodness. There we go. Get us some electronic parts. And look, someone left their PDA on the ground, so that is just free money. One and two. Honestly, I had no clue who drops these. No clue how they get dropped or anything like that. I never really care. I just always look out for them because, I mean, it's free money. Why wouldn't I? So let's just take a look around the station, see what people have been dropping while I've been out in space going and bumping uglies with the vacuum of absolute death. I mean, that man definitely took over my old room. That door's super locked. That's fine. Alright. So that, though, should have been, yes, all the electronic parts that we needed to fix up the last of the laser array. With that being fixed up now, we will actually be able to go and power on our reactor for the first time. There we go. Now we restore. And then eventually, once we finish restoring and repairing everything else on board of our ship, we'll start to sell it all off, because with a fully built-out reactor, we don't need all of these extra reactor parts anymore, so might as well get rid of them. We only need the one cryo tank, so why do we have a second one? The extra deuterium tank, we are still going to keep, though. In fact, if anything, I'm going to see about slapping it right next to the other one, if I can. But I'm very concerned with the health of our current installed reactor, because, I mean, this is the first one I've ever built. You know, makes a man a little bit nervous when you have essentially a small radioactive warhead on board your ship, especially one where I've spent, you know, almost 4.5 days, a little bit longer than that, going and building this thing out. Okay. Well, let's hit up the control panel. We're gonna slow everything the fuck down. Okay, so we go and we look at the ignition. So we start with the power bus. Oh, buddy. Okay. Okay, so our thrust is off, so we are not using that right now. That is absolutely fine. So, power bus, core purge. Our pellet feeder. Okay. I think we're going to need a little bit of fuel before we get going on that. But I kind of want to power... I'm going to do it. I'm going to hit the fuel kiosk, we're going to buy some fuel, and we are going to power up our reactor for the first time. Because once we get the reactor powered up, I think that means freedom from having to buy power from OK Lake ever again. I think. I'm not 100% certain. I have no idea what I'm doing with this. Shit, heavy water is bloody expensive. I'm glad that we had some already. same with helium. Helium is stupid expensive. Well, I guess we'll power and fill everything else up while we're at it. Oh yeah, and we'll tap out our RCS fuel because it's always worth it to fill up the RCS all the way. So in theory, we should now be able to turn on our reactor. Though we are going to throw down a save right before we do that, just in case. So just to make sure that none of my personal information is leaked, we're gonna swap to the Be Right Back screen. There we go. Alright, we have a save thrown down. And you know, I think we're going to call the stream here after going and testing out the reactor. Alright, so we have power on, core is purged, the laser capacitor is installed, capacitor is charged. First step, laser alignment, then pellet feeder. You know, we'll let that spin up for a second, and I want to say it should be in this bin. I have the manual on how to operate the reactor, so we're gonna pick that up real quick. Just to make sure that we're doing this correctly. Fusion. Perfect. Hop back to the reactor. Okay. Pre-start checklist. Cold start to idle battery charge mode checklist. And then a shutdown checklist. Okay. Cold start sequence to ignition and idle battery charging. Verify fusion coil assembly undamaged. Done. Reactor coil undamaged. Done. Same with the reservoir, distribution pump. Fusion grade capacitors undamaged. One fusion grade laser capacitor supplies power for 2 fusion arrays, which we have. We have the reactor fuel regulator and pellet feeder. Okay. Set power bus position to battery. Wait for lamp test to complete. Verify all lamps indicate during lamp test. Note, if lamp test does not indicate, set power bus position to off and return to beginning of checklist. Verify battery percent showing green. Battery percent is green. Fantastic. Verify capacitor charge increasing or indicating ready. Correct. Verify H3. Let's see. Levels display greater than 6.6 kilograms, and fuel deuterium displays more than 4.45 kilograms. Well, we'll get the other deuterium tank installed now. Okay. So what we are looking for now is the core pressure. It should be good. So let's check the core purge then. Ah. So what am I doing? Because I'm going to be very careful about doing this. No core pressure lamp indicates for vac on new and long dormant Solomon reactors. Common fault. For certain build numbers, no core pressure lamp indicates for vac if vacuum perfect or near perfect. Assume indication failure to be a vac indication. Verify laser assignment indicates solid white. Set lasers alignment position 1. Okay. So I guess as this is our first time starting it up, I guess we don't need to. Okay. So verify laser alignment lamp indicates solid white. Set laser alignment position 1, which is on. Okay. Correct. Then we set pellet feeder to on. Verify pellet feeder ready lamp indicates solid green. Then we turn on the cryo position. Set cryo position to on. If cryo pump not present, cryo switch will remain inoperable. Okay. So we turn on the pellet feeder. Then we turn on the cryo pump. But the pellet feeder does not indicate that we are good to go. Okay, feeling that might be a bit of a problem, but we'll keep reading. We'll keep reading. Verify thrust, yes, it is off. Flows in minimum, cycle in position closed. Press button fuel regulator on field coils. Verify button indicates solid on. Caution, field coils require high battery load, proceed with haste. Press forward on field coils, press rear on field coils, set ratio in position MHD. Or verify ratio in position MHD, set MHD position 1 on. Okay. So if I'm reading that correct, we set flow to 0. Then we begin with fuel regulation. Then we power up the field coils. And then we flip on the MHD. And then, in theory, I think that's it. We ignite the reactor. Verify cycle in position closed. Verify fuel coils. Forward lamp indicates solid on. Rear lamp. Verify ready lamp indicates solid green. Then we, so verify core purge in position off. Capacitor charge indicates ready. Okay. Capacitor. Yep, everything is looking good. Okay. Okay. So it's spinning up, it's settling down. So it looks like right now we're using about 4.8 kilograms of helium per day. We'll keep it on battery for now, because I don't know what charge does, so we're going to read the rest of the manual, so that way we know what we're doing before we completely nuke ourselves here. Verify core pressure indicates and holds above rough and amber. Core temp holds amber or green. Fuel kilogram per day is under 50 of fluctuation. Power through fusion, green, green, green. Load indicates green. Note, no lamp indication will occur if near minimum values. For battery charge, set MHD to position on. Set power bus to charge. Verify power MHD indicates green. And that should be it. We should now... We have done it! We are now charging our own batteries. So, I think we are going to call the stream there. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys. Feel free to come back anytime. Another stream next week, hopefully. We'll see what my new work schedule is.